Welcome back to our Rovers Walkers episode 23. Our main questions this week, just what's happened to Rovers at Ewood Park, a loss against Hull, draws against Sunderland, goals conceded left, right and centre. What has just happened to them in recent weeks? Plus, we're talking about the transfer rumours. Ryan Kent, Ollie McBurney, are they both on their way? And we're talking about the FA Cup, of course. Do we care about it this year and any more signings that this team would love to make? Thank you very much, of course, for joining us. We massively appreciate you watching us. Before we get into that Burnley result, I'm afraid we're going to talk about it in a second. Let's ask you for a little bit of a favour first. We're desperately trying to hit our target of 100 subscribers this month. We're nearly there. We just need you to press that button if you haven't done so already. Help us get to 100 subscribers. That would be absolutely massive for us. Right, Mark, Jason and Tom are back with us. Harry is still doing exams for university, so good luck, Harry, if you're watching. For those, we'll see you back in a couple of weeks. Hope they go well. He's going to glad he's not here for this one, though. Go on then, Mark. Talk us through the Burnley game.
Well, I mean, I think I'm still a bit deflated after it, to be honest. I don't know. Now I've had time to obviously to reflect on the game and everything. I think just realistically, it's probably going to sound a bit like sour grapes, really, but I think it shows where we are and where the two clubs are in comparison. I think, we didn't play bad at all on Saturday, and there was not much in it at all. And I think I said last week, when we did this, I wasn't expecting many goals in it, and it wouldn't surprise me if one goal was going to win it, and that's exactly what happened. And we played really well, but we just lacked that quality in that final third when it mattered, and unfortunately, they had that when they needed that one chance. So bitterly disappointing to see 26,000 home fans as well. It was absolutely superb to see Ewood absolutely packed like it was on Saturday. But to come away, I mean, as I said, even a draw point would have been, just avoid defeat. But yeah, it was really bitter to take that, I think, on Saturday.
Can I ask you, Tom, about the refereeing and some of the way that which he handled the game, perhaps some of the decisions? I'll share with you what the Burnley fans thought of it in a minute. But did you think he had the right approach? I mean, there was Cantwell and Cullen and others, and that didn't go into the book perhaps when they could have done in the first half. Do you think that allowed for a good game?
I mean, like Mark just said, there wasn't a huge amount in it. I don't think the referee did a huge amount wrong, but I mean, Cantwell, he was manhandled quite a few times in the game, and the ref didn't give us much. There was a lot of questionable tactics from the Burnley players, a lot of on the floor, time wasted in particular. But it was just, I think the quality, as Mark just said, showed really with the goal they scored. They had their one chance and they took it. We had 2 or 3 chances at their end, and James Trafford kept them out and we didn't hit the target. But the referee himself, I don't really think he played a huge factor in the game, because he let a few things go. I guess you want to see in these sort of games. But overall, I think Blackburn just weren't quite good enough. As we've discussed before in previous weeks, we haven't got that cutting edge in front of goal. And I think if we really want to make a push for the playoffs this season, we've got to address that quite quickly.
Well summarised. Jason, I want to ask you about the celebrations at the end of the game, because it's caused some Blackburn fans to come out quite strongly and deride what Fleming did. This is, of course, him grabbing the corner flag at the end of the game with the Rovers flag over it, draping the Burnley shirt on top of it, and then parading it as if they won the World Cup. What were your views on it, and do you think actually it's quite incendiary?
I think it's a massive. I think there's an element of disrespect there for the fact of he just launched a corner flag after he didn't put it back, and it was a massive overreaction to a game, really. That was a 50-50 game, if not slightly 55-45 to us. Like the boy said, we just didn't have that cutting edge. I thought, I mean, the stats say we created more chances. We had 10 corners, they had none. We just, so I think it was a massive overreaction. I think the whole purpose of it was to do what it's done, and it was to stir up some trouble. get the fans arguing and talking. Burnley seem to have these kinds of players. Ashley Burns, they've just signed another one. They just like it. Ashley Burns warms up just to wind the Rovers fans up. That's what he does. So it doesn't surprise. I was expecting something like that. I thought it was a little bit disrespectful. And I think it was a bit of an overreaction. We're halfway through a season. It's not like when they didn't win the league at Ewood, when they sealed the league at Ewood. It wasn't like that type of magnitude of a game, So, yeah, I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff. I don't think we'd have done that at their place if we'd have won. So,
Mark, what's your view on it?
Yeah, I think Jason, he was spot on in everything he said. I think, and it's not. Like I said, I don't think we would have done that if it was the other way around. And it's easy saying that, isn't it? But I really don't think we would have done. And like I said, we're beginning of January. All right, massive 3 points. They've not won anything. And I think it was like you said, the disrespect surrounding it. I think what surprised me the most is that obviously, I don't know if it's something that the FA can look into, because is that not inciting crowd trouble? There was quite a lot of Rovers fans still on. I think they were gathered in the corner of the Riverside at that stage. That all hell could have broken loose there. So it was just all right. 3 points. Good win for them. By all means, celebrate it. But I think, like Jason said, it was just distasteful. It was like the way, like I said, chuck the corner flag back. It was pointless. But it's happened. But I think we wouldn't have done that.
I think my opinion on it, you expect fans to behave like that, not players. Players come and go at clubs. They don't really. There's not many players stay at a club and have an affinity with a club where it matters to them that much, beating the local. It's something you expect fans to behave like that, not players. For me, that's my opinion. Burnley fans will disagree because
James Trafford in goal, he was doing all sorts to wind the fans up. And he was giving the V fingers, and he was turning around, and he was showboating. The referee wasn't looking, and it just fires the crowd up another notch. And then Ashley Barnes down the left-hand side, he's there, stretching and lunging right in front of the Rovers fans. And then at the end of the game with Rodriguez and that stupid horse mask he put on, and he's giving all this in front of the Rovers fans. I mean, like you said, Mark, you don't expect that from professional football players who should know better. I know it's not easy for them in that environment, and it's going to be very hostile, as Scott Parker's come out and said. But you've got to behave in a certain way, and you can't behave in that way as a professional and expect no repercussions from it.
Yeah. They're role models, aren't they?
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the thing.
There was one poster, I think, who said that they better hope they get second, because if they finish third and have to play Blackburn in the playoffs, oh my God, Ewood is gonna be on fire if they Burnley have to come back there. And there's just a funny thing in football, isn't it? How it writes itself, and that some things with that thing with karma comes around. All right, one more game I want to ask you all about is the whole game over Christmas. This bust a lot of coupons, mainly mine. What happened against Hull, Mark?
Same again. Lack of quality, and I think not just the Burnley game, and I think over the Christmas games and the festive period, I think and again we've talked about many times, when we've been on these, and the lack of depth in the squad. I think we had about 7 players out injured at the minute, something like that. And again, I think I said last week, it's not a case of feel sorry for us and all that. Every team's got to play the same amount of games in a short space of time, etc. But the whole game was exactly the same. We're really, really short and lacking up front, and that is a major concern. We don't look like scoring many, or we don't look like scoring at all in some games. And the whole game, again, you saw it finishing probably 0-0. And I think it was their only chance I think I remember that they had, and ultimately they put it away. So it's a bit of a worry. And as I said, we really need to start addressing it, and hopefully a couple of additions during this month. But I suppose we'll have to wait and see. Okay,
all right. Let's talk about some of the rumours, shall we, about new players. Jason, first of all, Kent is rumoured. If you've heard this one, is that is that a good acquisition for you if it does come to pass?
Yeah, I think he'd be a great signing. I think Jeffrey Schlupp is another one that's flying around. I think his experience will be there seems to be enough of that where there may actually be something in that one. Probably a rumour we can take serious. I heard a rumour. Adam Armstrong's out of favourite Southampton. Fan ones are out. They may be loaning him out. Is he someone we could break the bank wages wise and get him in for the remainder of the season? He's proven at this level for more than one season. He'd be an interesting one. I can't see it, but in the rumours, let's talk about him. And Ollie McBurney, I don't know. I just can't make my mind up whether I want that one or not. I mean, I'll take any striker. Then we do need another striker, and if it gets too late in the window with nobody and we can get him over the line, I'll take anybody. And I suppose the experience side, but I don't know. There's something to sit right with him one for me. But
Tom, what's your view on McBurney? I mean, you're in a bit of a fight with him apparently with McBurney and others.
I mean, I was surprised at how old he was. I thought he was older than 28, in all honesty. And I think he hasn't scored any goals this season, but he can be a bit of a handful. He reminds me, I think, he'd be a bit more like a Sam Gallagher sort of role, where he's good in the air, he wins the flick-ons, and he's horrible. And he's the sort of player I think that someone like that Rovers probably could do with about. Because sometimes I think up front with Gay and Ohashi, we can come across as being a bit nice and a bit soft. And I think if we had someone in there like Ollie McBurney, who's an experienced head, he knows the division, he's played in the Premier League as well. And I think he maybe not so much for his goals, but just having him around the building, I think would help as well. You always hear these rumours about which players are going to come in. But when Ollie McBurney's name was bandied around, my first thought was, I know, not him. But that's the sort of, I bet home fans love him and away fans hate to play against him. So I think Ollie McBurney, I'm going to go against Jason here. I think he'd be the sort of player that I think would be a good asset. If he wasn't to rock the boat and have an ego, I think he'd be a good addition to the team.
Okay. Do you think he'd score goals, though? Because for me, that's what we need a striker for. We keep signing these great strikers who work hard, put themselves about, but they don't score goals, and this is why we've been in the position we're in for years. So that's what worries me with him, is whether he'd score enough goals, which has been the reason we were signing him. But
okay. If you're still watching, thank you so much. First of all, drop that subscribe button. Don't forget, we want to get to 100 before the end of the month. You can help us do that. Let's look forward now then, instead of looking backwards. Looking forward to the FA Cup third round this weekend. Let's have a quick look at Blackburn's pedigree, shall we, in the FA Cup in recent years. And Mark, I'll throw this one out to you. Since 2016, which is just short of 10 years ago, Blackburn have exited the third round more often than they haven't. What do you put the recent issues with your FA Cup selections, or is it a mindset with Rovers? Because of course you've had such good pedigree with the competition. If you look before that, 6th round, 5th rounds, all before that, of course you've featured in many finals, winners of the competition yourself, of course, many times. Why in recent years have Rovers fell out of love with the FA Cup?
I don't know. I think like I said, it could be a bit of a mindset philosophy, that a bit of a mindset, because Rovers have always been, well, certainly when I was a bit younger, and like I said, going back 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I always felt we were like a cup team, and we always enjoyed a really good cup run. I mean, I know we won the League Cup in 2002, and we've been to a few semi-finals over the years. But like you said, over recent years, I do think it's probably been a bit of a mindset thing, because Thomason was really, really big on his cup games, and that showed last season. I know, obviously, it was Eustace in charge at the time when we played Newcastle in the 5th round. But I think even the previous season, I think when Thomason was in charge, he seemed to really take them cup competitions seriously. And I don't know if previous managers have just not really bothered. I mean, again, a lot of selection changes, and we've never really had that quality or that depth to really change things about much. So probably that. And again, I think with Eustace, I think he would fancy a cup run. I think he's another manager that will take every game seriously. I think there will be changes again on Saturday because I think all teams will look to make changes at this stage of the FA Cup in Premier League and Championship clubs. But I think he'll try and put out the strongest possible side to go and win that game on Saturday. So, yeah, so hopefully, like I said, I mean, I'll be honest with you, even myself as a fan, I look at the FA Cup now, third round. I mean, I'm not even thinking about the game on Saturday. I'll be honest, my focus is more on next Tuesday's game at home to Portsmouth. Win that game in hand, we're back in the top 6, and that's all I'm thinking of at the minute. So I think it's just a mindset and a mentality thing, and I think it's come with a lot of the FA Cup. Unless you get a really good tie against a good Premier League side or something, again, you look at that and you think, oh, if we get through, great, we might get somebody good in the next round. And maybe the players and managers sometimes think that. I don't know, but it's definitely a bit of a mindset thing, I think.
Okay. It's good you said that because our Middlesbrough fans said exactly the same. They really do not care about your visit this weekend. They just want you to, actually, one of them said, just ask Blackburn to knock us out, please, so we can focus on the playoffs. Do you get that, Jason? Would you rather finish in the playoffs this year than progress maybe to the quarters or the semis of the FA Cup?
Yeah, Matt, yeah. I mean, we've spoke on previous shows about how much I love the FA. It's the heartbeat of football, the FA Cup for me. It's worshipped in many countries, and how many cups in other countries have done that by foreign countries. It just doesn't happen. It's such a great competition. But I think you have to look at the fact we've been down here for so long. With the right additions this month, we could have a real go at the top 6. For how much we all love a cup run, and for how much, for me, we've got to go for the league. For me, Middlesbrough can have it. For me, I don't think you're going to see two first teams against each other. I think it's a massive chance to invest some players in a squad that's got a lot of injuries. So, and I think he'll give it. John Eustace in his interviews will give it. We want to go cup run. I love the competition. It's big. I think deep down he'll be thinking, thank God I can rest some players and get a few back from injury before we play Portsmouth. I think that's the realism of it. So for me, no, top 6 for me.
Okay. Put your money on a penalty shootout.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to end 0-0, isn't it? No 90s. First match ever that both sides want the other side to win. All right, cheers for that. Before we finish then, just the January transfer window is, of course, now open. Of course, you'll all be hoping that Eustace himself isn't transferred across to the Midlands, as rumours are circulating there. But in terms of players in, Mark, sorry, let's go with Tom first. Any names that you would like to see in a half and half shirt?
Yeah, there's been a few names touted around. I mean, I wasn't aware fully of the Adam Armstrong rumour, but that's a great addition. But I think I've said before that up until recently that Kwamu Poku in League One from Peterborough, he's scoring goals for fun, but unfortunately he's got quite a serious injury and he's out of contract at Peterborough in the summer, and he's the right sort of age, and I thought he'd be a great addition. But then also, I think dipping into League One, as we've seen with Langstaff coming up from League One into Millwall, and he was scoring for fun last season for League One as well. There's no guarantee of the step up. I mean, when we had Harry Chapman a few years ago, I thought Harry Chapman was unbelievable in League One, and he couldn't quite cut it in the Championship. Dylan Markande as well. There's the issue there. Do we recall him on loan back to Rovers? I think he'd fill that sort of gap on the wing like Dolan. But the one player that hasn't been mentioned much, I know he signed a new deal with Plymouth, is Morgan Whittaker. I think he's a natural goal scorer. He scored 19 league goals last year, and he's playing in a very struggling side at the moment with Plymouth, who are probably going to go down. So I think if we were to go in for something like £2 or £3 million, which would be triple the money they paid for him, I think someone like a Morgan Whittaker who knows what a goal is, I think he'd be the sort of player that we should be looking at. But is he realistic? I don't know. But he's the sort of player I think we should be targeting.
Okay, Mark?
Great shouts by Tom, to be honest. Morgan Whittaker I've never even thought of today. But if we could raise the money to get somebody like that in, brilliant, superb. But again, looking at who's available and what we could possibly get. Again, going back to Tom, I know he's mentioned that lad from Peterborough a few times over previous weeks when we've been on here. And again, I didn't really know too much about him. That would have been a really great shout. Yeah. I think 10 goals and 5 assists in 17 games.
Exactly.
as a winger, and I didn't know that. But like I said, I think he's out now for about 3 months injured.
Yeah.
Somebody like that. I mean, that's where we got Sammy Snodich from, wasn't it? Somebody, Peterborough and some. I think we probably are going to be having to look a bit lower down. I think there's that Dion Charles as well at Bolton. I don't know. Can we prize somebody away from a League One club? Other than that, I think you're looking at loan signings. And trying to get loan signings from Premier League clubs. But I do like the link with Ryan Kent as well. If we can try and get a deal for Ryan Kent, I do like the sound of that.
And Jason, you've already given us your thoughts, but any extra one name?
No, on the Morgan Whittaker thing, I'm sure in the summer there was clubs sniffing around and it was upwards of 10 million quid. I think they were trying to get out of clubs. So I think now they're looking inevitably, they look like they're going to go down this year. I really, really struggle. He may actually be tempted away in January and not may want to play fight at the other end of the table. So he may be. The only other one was Tyler Binden, I think Reading. And I know he's been talked about a little bit, but defend, Pickering's not out for that long. Do we look to I don't think we need.
What are your thoughts on Grant Hanley being linked again with us?
Ludicrous. I think I loved him at Rovers. I cannot stand that fella now. He comes to the park and winds the home fans up, and that's I don't like ex-players who do that.
I agree.
So, he's dead to me.
All right, let us know in the comments below. Type it in there, any players that we've missed. Right, thank you lot. Enjoy the Middlesbrough game if you can. You probably don't even be watching it, are you? I'm guessing, given your stance on it.
I think I've told Missy I'll go shopping.
12 o'clock.
Rare opportunity on a Saturday.
We will review it all, of course, next week and look ahead, of course, to the Portsmouth game. So see you then for that. Have a great week, everybody. January's a rubbish month, isn't it? But we'll get through it with us. Drop us a subscribe first, though. See you next week.